In the headlines, multinational joint task force troops neutralized 20 terrorists in Borno. People's Democratic Party files suit seeking removal of Governor Bello Matawalle. Nigeria bans foreigners from buying agriculture produce directly from farmers. And on the foreign scene, opposition's Yoon Suk-yeol elected South Korean president. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Update. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Now the news in full. Terrorists in 5 gun trucks were intercepted by Cameroonian troops at a border crossing into Nigeria, killing over 20 insurgents and recovered gun trucks. Reports say the incident took place at Amchide village around Bama local government area of Borno State. The insurgents were intercepted by Cameroonian troops under the multinational task force on Wednesday, while some of them fled with gunshot wounds. In another development, a reported clash between the Islamic State for West Africa province, ISWAP, and a Boko Haram faction left 9 dead. According to reports, the incident, which occurred in the Abadam local government area of Borno State, is coming barely 48 hours after a clash by the group left 30 dead in Dikwa town, about 100 kilometers from Maiduguri. The ISWAP faction is said to have ambushed their rival Boko Haram group at Yaumawango village, where they engaged each other in a deadly shootout. Meanwhile, stakeholders in Borno State want the federal government to adopt policies that will facilitate complete surrender of insurgents in the northeast. They also recommend improved funding to meet up the expectations of both victims and repentant fighters. This, among other advice, were made public in a dialogue titled Reconstruction and Reintegration as a Means to Enhancing Sustainable Peace and Security in Borno State, convened by the Peace Ambassadors Center for Humanitarian Aid and Empowerment. The report.
Beside the massive destructions and loss of lives, the havocs of insurgency has destabilized peace and sparked fears and tensions in the entire northeast. The 13 years conflict has seen continuous security operations that had resulted to surrender of some terrorists in Borno State. This ongoing development has already prompted the call for rehabilitation and integration of these fighters to the society. The gathering of stakeholders is to come up with homegrown policies and practice change that will complement and support the efforts of the government in ensuring effective, efficient and sustainable reconstruction and reintegration process in Borno State.
The theater on its part will continue to ensure that a stable environment is put in place so that what the special advisor to the governor said, the state will have a sustainable peace where each and everybody can move about his lawful activities.
When people say they will integrate ex-combatant to this community, they feel somehow. But when you go to the same corridor, you will see how those people are radicalized. There is a process. So we are witnesses. So this thing should be advocated out.
We need modern policy formulation techniques where we see our strengths, our weaknesses, our opportunities, our threats in SWOT analysis, and to carry along the traditional institution, because it has to be a bottom-up approach.
After a concluded dialogue and paper presentations, the Peace Ambassador Center for Humanitarian Aid and Empowerment in its communique wants a community sensitization on acceptance of defectors as well as improved resources that will satisfy insurgent victims and defectors.
We want the government to employ the best practices that is happening in other countries. The best practices is you don't only empower the perpetrator and they leave the victim. The international standard is 1 to 3. When you empower 1 repentant, you empower 3 members of the community, or you now rebuild community so that it will serve as a healing process.
It is hoped that if the resolutions are implemented, it will curb risks and vulnerability and most especially build resilience and sustain peace in the northeast.
And bandits have killed 3 locals and abducted 2 women in an attack on Fumigi Street in Ungwangaladima, Gwanungura Chukwu local government area of Kaduna State. Chairman of the Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, Reverend Joseph Hayab, stated this in Kaduna on Thursday. He said the bandits raided the community in the early hours of Thursday. He said the bandits now kill their victims to put fear in people. Meanwhile, Kebbi State Deputy Governor Samaila Yombe says he escaped bandits attacked in Kanyawaje district of Danko-Wasagu local government area, but not kidnapped as being rumored. The Deputy Governor, a retired Army Colonel, regularly visits the area to monitor military operations tackling banditry. Recounting his ordeal to newsmen in Birnin Kebbi, he said the encounter with the bandits could have been catastrophic if not for divine providence and professionalism displayed by the military. The security aide attached to the Deputy Governor, ASP Idris Umar Libata, and 18 military operatives were killed during the encounter. And police in Katsina State arrest 2 bandits suspected of abduction and killing of Umar Abdullahi Ankalele of Faskari local government area. Those arrested in connection with the killing are Nasiru Muhammad and Abubakar Ilyasu. Abdullahi Yamadi tells us more.
The bandits, numbering about 7, armed with AK-47 rifle, stormed the residence of Umar Abdullahi of Dogonhawa village in Faskari local government on the 1st of March 2022, kidnapped and killed the victim when he resisted the attempt to be taken away by the bandits. While parading the suspect, the police public relations officer SP Gambo Isa told journalists that the notorious bandits confessed to have committed the offense.
We succeeded in arresting these 2 guys that you are seeing here with me. Nasiru Muhammad, 27 years, of Faskari. Abubakar Ilyasu, male, age 25 years, of the same town. They are participants criminis. They participated in actual kidnapping and also the murder or culpable homicides or killing of Umar Abdullahi Ankalele.
The notorious bandits' father confessed that 7 of them, under the leadership of one yellow, a notorious bandits kingpin, now at large, attacked the resident of Alhaji Umar Abdullahi. The suspect also mentioned Samaila, Ibrahim, and Sani, all of Yankara and Dajing Ermalamai villages in Faskari local government, as some of their collaborators who are now at large.
Actually, they were the one that went into his residence on that fateful date, and they went with 5 others under the leadership of one notorious bandit called Yellow.
The police, however, told journalists that all efforts are being made to follow the remaining members of the syndicate to their hideout and bring them to justice. The police command also appealed to the good people of Katsina State to be more resilient and summon courage in providing vital information that could lead to the arrest of all criminal elements terrorizing the state. Abdullahi Ismayamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
And a group of concerned Abuja indigents are threatening to take to the streets if the Nigerian government fails to release the international passport of IMN leader Ibrahim El-Zakzaky and his wife Zinat. The group, who made the call during a media briefing in Abuja, termed the actions of the government as a violation of fundamental rights of the IMN leader and his wife to free movement. The group justified its decision, saying that the Federal Capital Territory Abuja continues to suffer altercations between law enforcement and IMN members, leading to loss of lives of indigents and destruction of critical infrastructure.
And his wife, but the government has not stopped even after they are discharged and acquitted by the Kaduna State High Court in July 2021. The government is illegal denying their international passport, with which they will go abroad for their treatment. This is total violation of the right to freedom of movement and medication as enshrined in the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We urge the federal government to release Sheikh El-Zakzaky passport along with his wife to enable them travel to the hospital of their choice in order to avoid the return to the street protest by his supporters, which turned Abuja from the city it used to be to seemingly a battleground. Failure to release Sheikh El Zakzaki's and his wife international passport by the Buhari-led administration will push us to the street before his followers.
And the Federal High Court in Abuja has fixed April 7th for hearing of the suit seeking the removal of Governor Bello Matawalle of Zamfara State by the People's Democratic Party (PDP) over his defection. Justice Inyang Ekwo on Thursday fixed the suit following an application for joinder and the submission of lawyers in the matter. The lawyers to the defendant, led by Mike Ezehome San, also sought for an extension of time to file their responses to the matter. In the application, the PDP asked the court to declare the impeached Deputy Governor, Mahdi Gusau, as the duly elected governor of Zamfara State. PDP is also asking the court to sack about 37 members of the National Assembly and the State Assembly who defected to the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC. Meanwhile, in the originating summons by its lawyer, Emmanuel Ukala, PDP is seeking a declaration that sequel to the Supreme Court judgment of 2019 in APC and another senator, Kabiru Marafa, and 179 others, only members of the PDP, including Matawalle, then, were entitled to hold the office of governor and deputy governor or member of the Zamfara State House of Assembly. Many passengers are feared dead in multiple crashes along the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. The spokesperson of the Federal Road Safety Corps, Ogun Command, Florence Okbe, confirmed the incident on Thursday in a terse statement. She said the incident involved two vehicles and a fuel tanker, which went up in flames around the Mountain of Fire and Miracles Ministry Prayer City outward section of the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. Lagos-Ibadan Expressway is notorious for road crashes, as it has claimed at least 30 lives this year. You're watching Trust TV News Update. Coming up after the break, financing family planning to boost healthcare services. This and more after the break. Do stay with us.
This is Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Coronavirus disease, COVID-19, is an infectious disease caused by SARS-CoV-2 virus. Most people who fall sick with COVID-19 will experience mild to moderate symptoms and recover without special treatment. However, some will become seriously ill and require medical attention. The virus can spread from an infected person's mouth or nose in small liquid particles when they cough, sneeze, speak, sing, or breathe. These particles range from larger respiratory droplets to smaller aerosols. You can be infected by breathing in the virus if you're near someone who has COVID-19 or by touching a contaminated surface and then touching your eyes, nose, or mouth. The virus spreads more easily indoors and in crowded settings. Maintain a safe distance from others at least 2 meters even if they don't appear to be sick. Wear a mask in public, especially indoors or when physical distancing is not possible. Clean your hands often. Use soap and water or an alcohol-based hand sanitizer. Cover your nose and mouth with your bent elbow or a tissue when you cough or sneeze. Stay home if you feel unwell. Get vaccinated. Properly fitted masks can help prevent the spread of the virus from the person wearing the mask to others. Masks alone do not protect against COVID-19 and should be combined with physical distancing and hand hygiene. Protect yourself and others around you by knowing the facts and taking appropriate precautions. Follow advice provided by your local health authority. This message is brought to you by Trust TV.
Welcome back. You're still watching Trust TV News Update. Now look at our top stories. Terrorists in 5 gun trucks were intercepted by the Cameroonian troops at a border crossing into Nigeria, killing over 20 insurgents and recovered gun trucks. A federal high court in Abuja has fixed April 7th for hearing on the suit seeking the removal of Governor Bello Matawalle of Zamfara State by the People's Democratic Party over his defection. Now moving on to other news. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control says it has recorded 84 new COVID-19 infections in 5 states and the Federal Capital Territory. The agency's data shows that 98 people were discharged after they recovered. Meanwhile, no death was reported on Wednesday, making it the 19th day with no fatalities. With the new figure, Nigeria now has recorded 254,861 cases, 249,307 recoveries and 3,152 fatalities across the country. Similarly, the United Nations Children's Fund and the World Bank says about 2/3 of households with children lost income since the inception of the COVID-19 pandemic. The report noted that reduced earnings have put parents in a position where their children are going without food for a day or more. And medical health experts have urged governments at all levels to key into private and public partnership in promoting financing for family planning and integrated health services as a model for revitalizing Nigeria's healthcare delivery system. The experts gave the advice at the 38th Annual Scientific Conference organized by the Association of Public Health Physicians of Nigeria, supported by the Development Research and Project Center and funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation in Ilorin, Kwara State. The report.
Nigeria ranked 7th in the world population ranking with over 200 million people as at the last national census. The need for family planning is being canvassed by most governments of the world. The Association of Public Health Physicians of Nigeria is meeting in Ilorin, Kwara State on how the government could partner with private sectors to enhance funding of family planning in the country. Some of the panelists highlight the challenges in funding family planning in the country.
As part of the mandate of Association of Public Health Physicians, we are involved in all aspects of health, the funding, the health promotion, the health prevention, and what have you. So we feel that funding for health, if you agree with me, the percentage of the national budget dedicated to health is so small, compared to the dwindling health indices of the population.
In 2017, to financing family planning for the goal of achieving a 27% modern contraceptive prevalence rate. So far, Nigeria's inability to meet its CPR national objective may be connected to its inability to meet its financial commitment through its annual budgetary allocation and releases for family planning.
Pharmacists Council believes the training being offered its members will go a long way.
The private and public sector is an idea whose time has actually come. And in our discussion so far, we have a lot of evidences on ground about what we have done as a regulatory body, the Pharmacists Council of Nigeria, in this direction to ensure the adequate engagement of our private sector healthcare providers.
And there's a saying that when there is no doctor, people will appoint a doctor for themselves. So these are people that are providing services in the community, and over the years we have neglected them. Now we're in a situation right now where we know that the country wants to achieve universal health coverage. And if we're talking about universal health coverage, you want to reach everyone with quality health services, irrespective of their location, their age, their sexual orientation, irrespective of where they are. And we know that government alone can't do that. The public sector alone can't achieve that. Meanwhile, you will always find a PPMV in a community. And the same thing applies to all the healthcare services that it's not just for the PPMVs to service old people. Sexual activities take place everywhere.
Who should be concerned about policies of the government, particularly policies that concern the Federal Ministry of Health?
Exactly.
Let it be that we have, if it could be the leadership of this association that should constantly interface with the Federal Ministry of Health to get to know the happenings without having to wait for forums like this, so that you can be a contributor to things that shape and changes the policy direction or environment within the health sector.
The meeting raised questions and recommendations on how to ensure funding for family planning by governments at all levels.
United Nations Children Fund, Unicef, donates medical drugs worth over $200,000 to the Borno State government. The essential drugs included antimalarials, analgesics, antibiotics, and other equipment. The gesture is meant to help ensure that newborns, children, lactating mothers, and pregnant women receive quality health care. The chief of Maiduguri Field Office of UNICEF said that the intervention is to cushion the effect of Northeast terrorist conflict impact, which has contributed to the spread of diseases.
To the life and the health condition of the mother. And so for us, we look at that child in a very holistic manner, because a good start to life means good health. And once we have that, and survival is very important for us. So in handing over these essential drugs, we are very hopeful, and we know that the Borno State health authorities now have essential drugs that will go to all the primary health centers. And so this will help mothers, it will help pregnant women, it will help lactating mothers, newborns, and girls and boys under the age of 5 to access basic essential drugs closest health facilities closest in their community.
With all these things, without the drugs and consumables and other equipment, there's no way we can really integrate the primary healthcare services or the primary healthcare centers under one roof. So this is going a long way in assisting the government, because we've procured a lot of drugs for the mothers, and UNICEF have added one of the children to us, which we are very, very happy. And they are sort of reminding us that whenever we are going to make the next procurement, we also have to think along the mothers and the children at the same time. So whenever we are procuring for the mothers, we also have to make provision for the children. So it is very, very great, and I think this is the first presentation I'm getting with so much drugs and other consumables.
And the Federal Executive Council has approved a memo prepared to promote agribusiness in Nigeria through right farm gate pricing and ban on foreigners and their representatives from purchasing agricultural commodities at the farm gates. The Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Otumba Adebayo, said this on Wednesday while briefing State House reporters after the Federal Cabinet meeting presided over by Vice President Yemi Osibanjo at the Council chambers of the Presidential Villa in Abuja.
The Federal Executive Council. One of the members was for the promotion of agribusiness in Nigeria through right farm gate pricing and a ban on foreigners and their representatives from purchasing agricultural commodities at the farm gates. As you're all aware, this memo was necessitated by the need for government to establish an appropriate mechanism that would not only protect our farmers in terms of achieving the right prices for their goods, for their commodities, but also ensure that they have the appropriate incentives and the needed encouragement to guarantee their continued participation in the farming business. Over the years, foreigners have been going to the farm gates and buying produce from the farmers at low prices, thus incentivizing the farmers from continuing with their trade. So we finally got approval from FEC today for only licensed local buying agents who must be registered by the relevant national commodity associations. They are the ones who now will be able to buy goods directly from the farmers for on-selling to the foreigners. This way, the farmers will no longer be cheated by these foreigners who just throw money at them and are able to buy their goods.
MultiChoice Nigeria and the Federal Inland Revenue Service on Wednesday reached a compromise to settle pending issues on tax out of court. According to Niger News, part of the agreements reached will see MultiChoice withdraw all pending lawsuits, while FIRS conducts a forensic system of the company's accounts. FIRS in July 2021 had asked MultiChoice to turn in 1.82 trillion naira as tax bills after appointing some commercial banks as agents to recover the amount. The chairman of FIRS, Muhammad Nami, noted that the banks were appointed as agents and used to freeze accounts because MultiChoice refused to grant FIRS access to its servers for audit. MultiChoice, which disputed the assessments, approached the Tax Appeal Tribunal, which led to a series of cases at both the Tax Appeal Tribunal and the Federal High Court. MultiChoice, in another case filed against FIRS, challenged the assessment of FIRS over unpaid value-added tax amounting to $342 million. Now look at the foreign scene, where opposition conservative Yoon Suk-yeol has won South Korea's presidential election, propelling a political novice and avowed anti-feminist to the helm of Asia's fourth largest economy. After a bitter, hard-fought election campaign, Yoon, formerly a top government prosecutor who has never held elected office, was declared winner early Thursday, after rival Lee Jae-myung from the incumbent Democratic Party conceded defeat. Despite a campaign dominated by mudslinging between frontrunners Yoon and Lee, voter turnout was at 77.1%, including record early voting, with interest strong and the policy stakes high in the country of some 52 million. The two parties are ideologically poles apart, and Yoon's victory looks set to usher in a more hawkish, physically conservative regime after 5 years under outgoing President Moon Jae-in's dovish liberals. And the United Kingdom has seized all assets of Chelsea FC owner Roman Abramovich. He is one of 7 oligarchs hit with fresh sanctions, including asset freezing and travel bans over Russian invasion of Ukraine. Also affected are billionaires Igor Sechin and Oleg Deripaska, both seen as allies of Vladimir Putin. Prime Minister Boris Johnson said there can be no safe havens for those who have supported the invasion. Abramovich, 55, is alleged to have strong ties to Russian President Vladimir Putin, which he has denied. But the government believes Abramovich, who has an estimate net worth of 9.4 billion naira, 9.4 billion pounds, oligarchs from the 1990s to maintain prominence under Putin. Under the sanctions, Chelsea will operate as a club with special charity license. The proposed sale of the club by Abramovich has also been stopped. But the club will not be able to sell new tickets for games or sign new players. And with that, we conclude Trust TV News Update for this hour. Don't forget, you can subscribe and follow us across all our social media platforms. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Thanks for joining us.